What up, y'all? Welcome to That Time in Hip Hop, episode 13. This is a podcast about the nostalgia, the history, and more importantly, the preservation of hip hop music and culture. I am your host, Vegas of Hip Hop Now podcast. Got with me my partner in crime on this here podcast, Tone of IntoTheDome.com. What's good, man?
Oh man, everything's good, man. A little water today, man. Keeping it clean.
Yeah, I think I had it. Oh, yeah, that's what I had today. Gotta keep your calories down. Sometimes you want a juice and you're like, damn, what's the littlest amount of juice? Oh, a juice box. Bam. You know what I'm
Yeah, how
saying?
many grams of sugar? Like 28?
Probably. Shit tastes like it. Well, this one, I think this one is not so bad. No, it is. It's bad. 21 grams.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Uh,
But anyway, it's all good. You
yeah.
try.
Yeah, but it's better than the big bottle, you know. So
Right.
gotta start. I've been having water all day. But if you're listening to or watching this podcast for the first time and it's not about what the fuck we drink, sometimes we just like to say that because you know what I'm saying. Fuck, it's late, man. It's hot and shit outside, so brothers need to hydrate. Uh, we try to make sure that this podcast gives you not only the names of albums or artists or events, but at least some historical facts to back it up and our perspective on the situations, because a lot of it we were around for, at various ages and various aspects of our life. And we're both located in different parts of the country, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot there for everybody to take in. Do appreciate everybody who's been watching thus far, who's been subscribing, who's shared some of their comments. Please know that it is very important that we know what you think because it's not just our word and that's the high road. And we have a very good show today that almost requires some comments. So when you watch this, let us know what you think about the situation, about some of the things we said, whatever it may be. But more importantly, share this content with people you know enjoy hip hop music and culture. So we get into a segment we like to do called This Week in Hip Hop. And in This Week in Hip Hop, the man on the mic with a legendary hip hop group, Gangstar Guru, was born on July 17th, 1962. We all know he passed away in I think 2010. I think
I believe
it was in
so.
April, something like that. But gone but never forgotten. Guru, a Gangstar, Tone. Let's know what you think about this man. What do we think about this man? For those who don't know who Guru is.
I always said that Guru was one of the most underrated, overlooked legend in the culture because when you think of your Rakims, KRS One, Kane, and all the old school guys, Guru should be mentioned with those guys. He's just as important. He's one of the guys who ushered in that jazz component in hip hop. The legendary Gangstar group is not second tier to any group in hip hop history. When you think about it, as far as a tandem, I mean, Premier is one of the greatest of all time. He's my favorite. Guru always kept adult lyrics, grown man lyrics. I like to call him like Chuck D. You know what I'm saying? He had a dope voice. He did have a monotone style, but that was his thing. You know what I'm saying? He would teach you. It was like the song Manifest. The first time I saw a video from Gangstar was Manifest, and he had the kind of Nation of Islam type outfit on, and speaking in front of a crowd and dropping knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So he's one of the greats, man. I wrote a nice tribute to him on IntoTheDome.com last year, and I just reposted again on my Twitter and my Facebook, so people can kind of see that if they missed it, man. So I'm a big fan, man. Rest in peace and happy birthday, man, to Guru, man. Just we lost a legend, man. Just a amazing MC.
Yeah, man. Like Guru is the type of he's an artist, point blank. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think sometimes we try to put dudes in a category of how lyrical they are. You know what I'm saying? Or how many hit records they had. And Guru's not either of those two. He's the type, like Tone said. who he's like grown man rap. You know what I'm saying? You feel like when you listen to Guru, you're learning something. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're learning something about what was current back then in the '90s with Gangstar, or you learning something about some jazz legends, or somebody else that influenced something else, or about the streets. You know what I'm saying? He always took that approach with his lyrics. Um, there are a lot of rappers from the '90s that did not make it as far as he did, as far as music. But Guru, especially with the Jazzmatazz series, kind of extended his MC life. Not lifeline, but his MC life basically as a rapper, as far as staying interested, collaborating with jazz artists. And I could see him doing that today with all these younger jazz artists who are out, who grew up on Gangstar and Guru. I could see another Jazzmatazz album with Terrence Martin and Robert
Right,
Glasper
man.
as part of it.
You
That would have been crazy. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, man, you're exactly right because when you're a true artist, you transcend time. You're not stuck in a capsule. You know what I'm saying? You can move in different eras. And again, like you said, I he definitely would have probably done some stuff with your Terrence Martin and Robert Glasper, and he'd have probably done songs with people like Most Def and Andre 3000. You know what I'm saying? Even Kendrick Lamar. I mean, his style fits all styles. And again, just going back to real quick to the '90s, let's not forget the code of the streets, the just to get a rep where he's dropping signs about how what happens in the streets. What about DeWick? They still play DeWick with Nice and Smooth in clubs to this day all over the world. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Mass Appeal is one of the dopest New York hip hop street jams ever. So let's not forget that he has those type of songs. You have the legendary album Daily Operation. You have Hard to Earn. You know what I'm saying? You have Moment of Truth. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And if you really are a rookie to Gangstar's music and Guru's music, go back and get that decade of Gangstar double CD greatest hits, man, and start there. You'll hear some of the dopest pure hard hip hop, and then go listen to the Jazzmatazz series, and you'll see how diverse Guru actually is. He was a lover of music, and it showed in the diverse artists that he worked with.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Like if you're somebody out there who you always see on social media at certain points, rest in peace, Guru, or happy birthday. In this case, Guru, full clip, which is the greatest hits from Gangstar. It really is one of those greatest hits that's basically almost perfect because every dope Gangstar, at least the ones they could put on there, is on there, and
Yeah,
it's a nice span of their music. And again, the Jazzmatazz series is another way to look at some of his other material. Also, in the description, we're gonna have the link to Tone's article on intothedome.com so you can check that out. So all these gifts, take them. Go out, enjoy music, man. Because we music lovers, we're hip hop lovers, and obviously, if you're watching this, you are too. So we're gonna get right now into the topic at hand on this show, and this is going to be fun. I made a whole mixtape series that included some of this riffraffness that went on in the early 2000s. Tone, tell the people what today's time in hip hop is about.
today we're gonna talk about battling and crews battling, and we're gonna go in detail about when Jay Z and The Rock had a nice battle against D Block. And I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
tell you, this was a fun times because you know MCs would go up to the radio station. Let's use Hot 97 for example. They would go up there with their crew, and during the interview, the DJs would say, "Hey, let's throw some beats on." And you know what I'm saying? If you had a little quarrel with somebody, unlike today when people take you to social media and they want to tweet some nonsense or Instagram some little sneak disses, nah, you would use bars. You know what I'm saying? You would have to protect your crew with bars. You know what I'm saying? So this is a big deal back then. You take your crew up there, you battle. You know what I'm saying? But let's kind of go to the essence real quick of, in my opinion, how this D Block and Rockefeller situation happened. I have to blame Jay Z. And I know some people say, well, what Jay Z do? Well, I'm tell you what Jay Z did. You know, R. Kelly had Fiesta song with Kiss, and I'm thinking Kiss is probably thinking, well, my debut album is gonna come out. This is gonna be a good look. I'm gonna probably jump on this video with Kales, yada yada yada. That didn't even happen. Next thing he know, there's a remix to Fiesta, and damn Jay-Z is on the video. And he's like, after the original is probably this. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, after the original is probably this word. Okay, so what you saying? You know what I mean? Then around that time as well, Kiss, all these DJs and mixtape guys are trying to really get all these songs with Kiss because he's blowing up. That solo was coming. He do a song Best of Me with Maya. What happens? No video there. Who jumps in the video again? There's Jay-Z again in the Maya video. And so now it's kind of like, okay, I think this dude trying to sabotage me a little bit. I'm thinking we cool because we just did Reservoir Dogs 2 years ago for Volume 2 The Hard Not Life. So I'm thinking we all good. So next thing you know, the Locks does the Fiesta remix, like kind of rock this song. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, little sneak dishes here and there start popping up between um, Rockefeller, not Jay-Z, because he kind of stayed out of it, but with the state property and some of the guys on Rockefeller and D-Block. And it just kind of kept escalating until they went to Hot 97 and they went on for like 15 minutes over like 10 beats. And they went at kind of like Sublims at Nas, D-Block, and a couple other guys that was kind of riffing with, man. So that's kind of where it started, Vay.
Yeah, and I think another thing that also incited it was DMX and Jadakiss song "Here We Go Again" off of Jada's solo album, which
Yeah,
DMX was clearly dissing Jay Z and everybody
yeah,
else,
yeah.
and and he was pulling no punches.
Not the
Uh,
crown off your head.
yeah, exactly, and Jadakiss was there for it, man. And I remember like all of that because it was kind of like it was something brewing, and obviously Jay Z has Summer Jam setting it and having X Nas he don't want to withhold that kind of just. I always gave Jay Z props for that much because I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, he just put it on the table now.
Yeah,
Now all the subliminal here is over. Um, but that was more. He could see himself beating Mob Deep, but he wanted Nas. But the locks were like right there, breathing down their neck. And as you stated, it was a lot of subliminals until it turned into some head-on action as far as Jada Kiss versus Beanie Siegel, um, and a couple of freestyles that
yeah. Vicious.
man really vicious. And but let's not get ahead of ourselves. The Beanie and Jadakiss battle. I know, for example, I know that uh, Beanie Siegel's F Jada Part One was definitely sparked off of some of what was said on Here We Go Again with Jadakiss and DMX because he mentioned like shooting and exiting out of Tommy Buns, which is DMX's character
And Belly, yeah.
from Belly, right?
Right.
Um, So it felt that way. But what did you think when you knew this matchup was going to happen? Like, oh, Beanie Siegel versus Jadakiss. What was your thoughts at that time?
Well, my initial thoughts was it's gonna be a good one because, after hearing Siegel, I was like, just over some of the features and his debut and everything kind of going on with him at the time. I'm like, dude, is really nasty. You know what I'm saying? So he'll a formidable opponent for Kiss, who the Locks is no joke when it comes to battling. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the things that Jay-Z, like, he might have wanted to go at Mobb Deep, maybe even Nas, because they're not known as battle rappers per se. They make songs. Well, the Locks battle rap. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that's some heat that Jay-Z to me didn't want. Now, even though Jay-Z is a battle rapper from early on, you know, this is a different type of battle when you're talking about the Locks because they're vicious. You know what I'm saying? So Ben Siegel, he took up for the Rock. He stood there as the number one soldier. You know what I'm saying? And And he pushed the Locks as hard as you can push them because over the years, the Locks crushed a lot of people. They crushed 50 Cent G Unit. They crushed anybody else who wanted with the Locks. But Beanie Sigel stood there, really went toe to toe with Jadakiss. And at the end of the day, I kind of thought it was a tie. You know what I'm saying? That's saying a whole lot. But Siegel was next up to me, and I saw some Scarface in Siegel. I saw some Biggie in Siegel. I really thought that he was going to be an even larger MC and star, which he's known in hip hop, but he could have been even bigger. But I think street stuff kept getting in the way of some of his promise. But yeah, I thought it was going to be a big heavyweight boxing match. It was a heavyweight boxing match. It got personal. With them two at some point, even though in retrospect they both say it was competition. But on Rap Radar in 2016, Jadakiss talked about at another point in time when they was up at when the Rockefellers at the studio Hot 97 doing all these this freestyles. He said, "Man, I had my gun. The cats talked me out of going up there, man." He said, "Because I kind of wanted to go up and shut it off." He was like, "Cause I can't front, man. Them niggas can rap, man." You know what I'm saying? It was kind of I was mad at Hot 97 for letting them try to take our head off. You know what I'm saying? So, and Kiss and Sheik were laughing about it. And Styles laughed as well, but they're like, yeah, they all remembered that because Kiss was really that upset because it got real. You know what I'm saying? And when you got a little bit of street in you, a lot of insults can happen, and confrontation can come out of that. So, yeah, man, it was a heavyweight battle with those two guys, and I thought that it made both of them look good at the end of the day. It made both crews strong as far as the battle. They both took the lead in the battle. It was dope. I mean, I remember kids say hard not life till hugging your moms. You know what I'm saying? That he snuck them hard. And then, the Locks Kiss went to Philly and did a freestyle in Philly. And he still says to this day, man, I don't know what I was thinking about when I did it, but I know Philly used to be one of our favorite spots. He show us a lot of love and stuff like that. They still show. He said, "Don't be a coward and try to turn Philly against me." You know what I'm
Yeah, that
saying?
was a hard line because it was the fact that, like you said, he was there, and then for him to use that line, there's a certain psychology with that works on the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like when we said in another podcast where the crowd at the 1995 Source Awards was booing Dr. Dre and Snoop, and Dr. Dre like, wait a minute, y'all don't love us, and
Well, Snoop was like that.
the booze, yeah, the Snoop said that, and it was kind of like the booze started to waver a little bit because it's true. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's true, and people got caught up in the moment. So it's probably the same thing with Philly's. Like, yeah, Philly, we love Beanie Siegel, but we also love Jadakiss, and yeah, are you using us to get at him? Which wasn't true, and I think what's dope about that is Beanie was, I believe, there that same day or came there afterwards, and that's when he did his freestyle
Yep.
on stage. Jadakiss freestyle sound written. Beanie Siegel's joint sound off the top of his head.
It did
Um,
sound tough.
yeah, because you could tell by what he was saying, and it didn't sound as structured. But even saying stuff like, and everybody likes you better in them shiny suits, like there was some hard lines that was going back and forth between the two. Just to throw in, there was a moment when I believe Beanie Siegel was at Hot 97, I guess, or Power 105, one or the other, and Styles had called up, and they were just arguing over the phone and threatening to meet up to have a fight. You know what I'm saying? And we don't know if it ever happened, but like Tone said, man, it was getting serious. It was getting real. The mixtape DJs was loving it because they was, every mixtape was worth listening to because somebody had something about somebody.
But you know what,
Um,
too?
yeah,
Vay, now the mixtapes world was loving it because yeah, there was a bunch of freestyles on so many different clues and DJ Clue and all whoever the case may envy all these guys had a bunch of freestyles. But the good part about that time in hip hop was each of these artists were still dropping music. Because Jay-Z had just dropped The Dynasty, Memphis Bleak, The Understanding, Beanie Sigel, The Truth. The Locks had just had We Are the Streets. All this is 2000. We Are the Streets prepping up for Jadakiss solo album. You know what I'm saying? So you still have all these What else is I let's think about DJ Clue and a professional, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. So a lot of and so Rockefeller was very hot. You know what I'm saying? It was feeling themselves. They had 4 releases about to come out or coming or out at the time. They dissing everybody on the radio station. Nas at one point, and you can look this up on YouTube. I think he was in LA, and he had to turn on the radio, and he heard them cats coming at him, and he called the radio, and him and Jay Z talked on the phone. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And Jay was basically like, all right, man, we just having some fun type thing, whatever, whatever. You know what I'm saying? After that, Nas did the Stillmatic freestyle, and all of them because it pissed him off by throwing all these shots at him and Mobb Deep and all of them on the
Hmm.
radio. I remember Secret said something like, they kept switching beats. And once they got to a Mobb Deep beat, Seagull said something like "Squad Mobb Deep and we creeping on a quiet storm. Give up your goods or sleep on a quiet storm," something like that. So he was throwing shots, and then like I said, he was throwing stuff at Nas, and Nas got pissed off. And matter of fact, I left North Carolina during that time. Went to Harlem to hang out with some friends, and I'm on the streets chilling, talking to some guys on 125th, and somebody played the Stillmatic freestyle over that
Mm.
paid in full, Rakim paid in full beat. And I was like, oh, it's like that. You know what I'm saying? That then it got real because Hot 97, the Summer Jam, and all that happened. So a lot of stuff was going on during this time, man, and it helped escalate this whole Rockefeller and Deep Rock beef.
Yeah, so let's look at that dynamic of some of the stuff you mentioned, right? You got the locks basically going at the whole Rockefeller for the most part. That nobody was spared. You know what I'm saying? Styles said it. You can bring the baby gorilla, he dying for free. You know who he was talking about.
Right. He also said, "How the fuck you to rock when your leader's soft?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I'm getting to. But the locks, you know what I'm saying? The locks didn't care. It was like anybody standing in that area is getting
Right.
sprayed. It ain't no I'm picking this one because honestly, Beanie Siegel was only going at Jadakiss.
Right.
It got to a point where Styles and Sheik was like, nah, you go at him, you going at all of us. And then it just became a free fall. So it felt like, they smoothed off the rest of Rockefeller for the most part. But it was like Beanie Siegel was getting jumped. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because he was the only one that was really fighting. Everybody else kind of had their raps and just wasn't hitting. And then, like you said, with the Stillmatic freestyle, instead of Nas singling out Jay Z, he just went down the whole label.
Yeah.
Now you have all of this happening, but we all know the story. A lot of it extends from Jay Z defending Bleak. But Jay Z wasn't as involved with the Locks beef as much as he wanted to be involved with the Nas thing. And
Mm-hmm.
like you said, they were doing everything in their power to provoke Jay Z to respond to them from, like you said, you know, what he said? What he say? You're a leader of the rock. Now, how you supposed to be the rock when your leader is soft?
Right.
Uh, every time you throw up that sign, all I see is upside down pussy. Like they
Yeah.
literally doing everything they can to get this dude to jump. But
Yep.
I even got
Mm-hmm.
some audio for us real quick from a mixtape. This was besides the takeover and Jay Z saying, the rest of y'all, only get half a bar, fuck y'all niggas. That's a cop out, anyway. But this was the only place where he at least tried to say something. It wasn't even in rap form. Let me see if I could get.
The Rock, The Empire Strikes Back, featuring DJ Envy, Young Ho. You heard me? Blueprint in your store, September 18th. All questions answered. Boy gonna handle his business. Trust me. I don't know why everybody's so emotional anyway. Hate this industry. Everybody's watching this man's video, watching this man sound scared. Oh, hey, he's gonna catch Brick in there. He's gonna do that. Nigga, we don't give a fuck about what y'all niggas doing. Please, please, just let us do our thing. You understand? We just
To
gonna air
that
this
with
shit
Jay
out.
Z saying that on Jadakiss's diss to Beanie Siegel, he opens up by saying, we don't need no hugs over here. We're not emotional. We got knife work, gun work. We got like basically the locks is just like You're not gonna talk your way out of this one. Tone, why was Jay Z so acting afraid of the locks?
You know what? You and I are both boxing fans, and it reminds me of, you know what? Those number one contender, he's not popular, but he might be able to beat me. So I might just kind of try to skip around that number one contender and fight the other champion who I think I can beat, and I'm gonna make more money in that fight. You know what I'm saying? So let me take down Mobb Deep. They're more famous than the Locks. Let me take down Nas. If I take Nas down, it furthers my claim as the King of New York and the dopest MC of this whole era, or maybe ever, because everybody knows Jay Z is a big fan of Nas. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? He said it in numerous albums. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost taking down one of your idols almost. So I think he saw that as more of a challenge and his own personal goals. Now to looking at the locks over there, well, they dangerous because they're not gonna just come with one freestyle, not two freestyles. They might come on load on Jay Z with 15 freestyles. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of heat on Jay Z, and he'll be forced to answer some of them directly at the locks. So he kind of, first of all, he went and hollered at Kiss about that Maya and R. Kelly thing, and that's the reason why Nas said the pop should apologize, ask Kiss, because Jay Z didn't want nothing with Kiss. Yeah, he always wanted Kiss on Rockefeller, and later, Jadakiss would join Rockefeller years later and do the last Kiss on Rockefeller. So Jay Z respected Jadakiss, but he definitely didn't want to battle with the Locks. And look, man, it ain't just Kiss. Styles P is very vicious on the mic. You know what I'm saying? He's a
Yeah,
vicious MC on the mic. Sheik underrated. He can rap and he'll battle you too. So you still have that factor. But man, I'm gonna tell you, most people don't want him with style speed. So again, G Unit and a couple other crews found it out later on. It's not just Kiss. Styles eat you up. So
yeah,
Jay Z was smart. He kind of tried to push um Freeway and who went hard a little bit too. He tried to push Freeway and Court Siegel and some of the old Spark, the Young Gunners. He pushed all of them out there. And he would go up to the radio station and kind of sit back and throw little darts while they was rapping. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm basically gonna let my young boys do this because I'm too big for this. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the notion he took. But I'm not too big for Nas, so ask Nas if he wanted. You know what I'm saying? So I think he thought Nas was an easier target too, because Nas is not a battle rapper. You know what I'm saying? Nas is a street poet, so Jay Z's a battle rapper at heart. He battle rap people back in the early '90s, Jilza and LL Cool J and Busta Rhymes and DMX and Rhymes side by side with Big L. Jay Z can be vicious too. You know what I'm saying? So he's trying to take advantage of Nas being this laid back, cool, pretty boy nigga. You know what I'm saying? Poet, whatever. He tried to take advantage of that, and it ended up backfiring on him. But
yeah.
looking at the locks, that's a different type of animal that you're gonna have to feast with.
Yeah, and it's kind of like he set himself up in some cases because he had somewhat of a track record in recent years and recent albums of battling dudes who were had no chance against him, like Mace, like the fat dude from Harlem World, I forget his name, um, like giving not giving Beanie Sigel, giving 50 Cent a line.
Right.
Just dudes who, the minute, especially, and this, I guess, this is the other thing we should definitely let people know is Jay Z's status in hip hop, and probably more important to him in New York City was he was kind of like the king. Like he
Yeah, he
took that,
absolutely was. He was.
yeah, he took that mantle that Biggie coined and went with it, real far from having hit after hit after hit, album after album, verse after verse. It was just almost like he was saying, "I will not lose." It was almost true because it was like everything he was doing was dope. You know what I'm saying? It was hard to find anything that you could say negative about him in regards to rapping. But his opponents were people again like Mace and people he could just smooth off quick. And Nas was built up, animosity because he wanted Nas on several projects and was denied. You know what I'm saying? And he started to feel some kind of way. And the situation with Memphis Bleak, which I guess we might as well tell you anyway, kind of led to that. Memphis Bleak was mad because Memphis Bleak is a much bigger Nas fan than Jay Z is.
Mm.
He felt betrayed when he couldn't get Nas on his stuff, so he decided to diss him on one of his records.
Is that Get Your Mind Right? Or Is That Your Chick? One of those
Yeah,
tracks?
your mind right. But you easily saw, even though this was hands down Nas's wackest album, Nostradamus, but on the title track,
Yeah.
when Nas said, he was talking about the whole who won what, and
You want to
uh,
ball till you fall? I can help you
you
with
want a
that.
ball to the park,
Yeah.
finito. That
Ooh.
that right there,
Yeah.
plug melt in your hat.
Yeah.
Don't say nothing else, shorty. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Lines like that is what made that battle between Nas and Memphis Bleak brief. And Memphis Bleak was kind of brief in the entire whole thing after that because you can't really remember anything that went down with him dissing anybody except for when they were dissing Jazz O. Uh, but nevertheless, like you said, man, Jay Z saw opportunity in battling Nas. He saw opportunity to win. He saw opportunity to up his status in the rap game,
Mm-hmm.
which is like more like being, like you said, like being a smart fighter, but more from a business standpoint. Whereas the Locks was just young and full of stamina and ready to go 15 rounds if they had
Right.
to.
Right.
And definitely were probably going to knock you out as a result and take your title, your
And,
status.
and with Jay Z being the king of New York at that time, you want to have this invincible aura. And
Mm.
he was batting 1,000. You got to think. We talking about the year 2000. Prior to that, you talking about every year from Reasonable Doubt to Volume 1 to Volume 2 to the Volume 3, the Dynasty, all of this stuff. He was batting 1,000 as far as big hits, number one on the billboards, and leading up to the Blueprint 1, which, was a classic album, and he addressed a lot of stuff on the takeover. The last verse, it wasn't just about Mob and Nas no more. He was kind of throwing it at everybody. So I think that was his one time where he's kind of dissing the Locks, everybody all in one without doing it. You know what I'm saying? So called giving them half a bar, et cetera, et cetera. So that was his moment right there. And then he did it again a few times on Blueprint 2. He was still kind of battling everybody without saying their names outside of the title track where he obviously it was about Nas. The whole song was about Nas. You know what I'm saying? But he did shy away a little bit and let Sigel and Freeway and State Property battle the Locks. It was a good time because again, the Locks would go up to the radio station and drop freestyles over Gangstar. Speaking of Guru, rest in peace Guru, dropping freestyles over Gangstar beats and over a lot of other artists beats and stuff like that, man. So it was cool that the radio stations, would allow MCs to be MCs. And I wish it was more like that. Now I know Flex has his time where people go up there and do the Funk Master Flex freestyles and stuff like that. But I enjoy it back in the early 2000s where you got beef. Let me go up here and I'm going to go up here and dish you on these freestyles. Come back and holler at me. You know what I'm saying? And y'all go up to the other radio station or whatever, or this one, and outrap me.
Yeah, and I think another thing that came about as a result, like a domino effect, the whole Jay Z versus Nas versus the Locks versus everybody else kind of gave birth to a whole. It just opened up a whole can of people feeling like, well, I've never liked this dude, so I'm gonna air him out on record. And you had all kinds of battles. You even had people who weren't included in the Jadakiss and Beanie Sigel battle, like Cannabis, who made a diss record about Beanie Sigel around this time.
Right, you did.
You know what I'm saying? Which was crazy, but I mean, it just kind of opened up the floodgates, and it was kind of an exciting time. We're talking around 2000 through 2004, really,
Right.
because I was putting all these together, and you talking about, I mean, Eminem versus Beanie Benzino, KRS-One and Nelly, Ja Rule and Murder Inc. versus G Unit and Jay Z, Cameron versus Nas, and just a whole slew. Cameron kind of versus Jay Z. Um, just a whole bunch of diss records
Yeah, this
every
record, yeah,
four years.
yeah. And matter of fact, on the streets, people just DJs and people just put them together into CDs. This is Beef Volume whatever. This is Locks
Yeah,
versus the Rockefeller, Kids versus Beans, the Dipset versus who Nas or whatever. It mixed. It was so yeah. It became a big phenomenon for about three and a half, 4 years where it was to me it was exciting because it took me back to the essence of when Common and Cube did songs against each other when Easy had 187 MF Dre, you know what I'm saying, and whatever. I mean, people was making diss songs. If I had beef with you, I'm going to make a song. You know what I'm saying? And the Chronic started off with Dre Day and all this stuff with direct diss to Tim Dog and Easy E and Luke and I like when people look. You know what? Put your name in it, man. I got beef with you. I'm gonna do this song. I'm gonna put your name all in the song. You come back and holler at me.
yeah,
Good
because I
times.
think yeah, exactly. Because I think what made it like I don't know, like felt like it kind of burst at the seams was the fact that you had lost Biggie and Tupac over what was perceived as rap beef, even though we know it wasn't,
Right.
and people kind of chilled. You know what I'm saying? Like it was very chill for a long time, but even though there was subliminals still hanging around, people kind of chilled, and it was like once this popped off, it was like everybody got to say what they wanted to say about certain dudes, and like Jay, and some I can't even call them hardcore Jay Z fans because I'm a hardcore Jay Z fan, but I'm not delusional. Um, but there seemed to be a lot of people who did not like Jay Z and kind of tolerated him up until this point because once one person dissed him, it was like everybody had something to say. And it kind of led into some other stuff I'm not going to get into. But what do y'all think about that time in hip hop when Jadakiss versus Beanie Siegel happened, when the Locks was going crazy on Rockefeller, when Styles P at some point was the only one still making freestyles dissing Jay Z, even to the point where he said, I'm not going to front, I still like your music, but you ain't going to pop no shit against us and get away with it.
Right.
And Jay Z said nothing. You know what I'm saying? But what do you think? Honestly, Tone, it was so great. I was one of those people who collected every freestyle from 2001 to, even though some of them happened kind of in 2000 to 2004. Um, I tried to put one of those mixtapes out on that Piff. It got blocked. I'll find another way to put it out, especially maybe for this podcast, just so people can have a point of reference. Or mixtapes live on the internet. Search, look for those beefs, those battles on YouTube, whatever. They're available everywhere. That dope time in hip hop. Nobody
Yeah.
really got hurt. You know what I'm saying? So it was just strictly lyrical. No Twitter fingers, no Instagram posts, no antics, no WWE, just straight bars and beats, and then people getting their feelings hurt. Man, dope time in hip hop. All right, so we get to the point in the show where we suggest something you should go back and listen to besides a number of the things we just named. My recommendation for this week is Cameron's sophomore album, Sports, Drugs, and Entertainment. Sophomore Jinx? I don't think so. Because I think this album is his best album to date. Probably besides the one he released on Rockefeller. But I think a lot of that had to do with having better production and just having and when I say radio friendly, that doesn't mean they're whack, but just a bunch of records for the way radio friendly records sound back then. But Sports, Drugs, and Entertainment was more of a deeper dive into who Cameron was and who he eventually became. with the Dipset and
Yeah.
everything known to him. If you don't know, this was a dude that played ball seriously um, through high school. Definitely a prospect that could have been playing possibly in the NBA. Didn't sold drugs or whatever to hustle like everybody else he knew around his way, and eventually found his way into entertainment, sports, drugs, and entertainment. And though there are some songs on there that are clearly designated for the radio, there are some really dope records on here. And probably one of my all-time favorites is a collaboration with the late prodigy of Mob
Mm-hmm.
Deep called Losing Weight. Man, you talk about a record that just
Yeah.
signifies, just represents, and or illustrates, whatever word you want to pick that works best, of drug selling, the block, thugs, just the vernacular, the swag in which they said what they had to do, the hook, very simple but to the point. It's kind of in that realm of, and this is difficult to do when it's you and a guest feature. You really got to be in tune with each other to
Yeah.
to pull something off that has somewhat of a concept. I know some people may say, "Well, drug dealing is a concept." Yeah, but this song is a little bit more connected than that. But this gives you the same feeling, like Tone mentioned earlier, of mass appeal. That whole vibe that makes you feel like early '90s New York City, of New York state of mind. You know what I'm saying? You kind of feel like you in them project hallways. But sports, drugs, and entertainment, man. A very dope album that was released in 2000. So right before everything popped off, right before this is when he was still on Sony Columbia. I believe we did an interview with him on my show back then. Can't remember exactly. I don't know if we aired it. I can't remember what happened. But this was around that time, right before he actually went to the Rock, right before the whole beef thing popped off, man. My favorite Cameron album, uh, very underrated because a lot of people don't think about it. But the crazy part is every time you say it or post it, everybody be like, "Yo, yeah, that album was dope." Tone, what did you think about Cameron's second album, Sports, Drugs, and Entertainment?
Yeah. SD is dope. I mean, just like you said, it's my favorite Cameron album. I do like Come Home with Me a whole lot. I like Confessions as well. I mean, Cameron has some good albums, man, on the real. Um, but SDE, I like it the best. I like the song, of course, Pushing Away with Prodigy. I even like What Means the Word to You. I thought it was slick little
Yeah,
Las Vegas vibe, Las Vegas type
it
video.
is.
You know what I'm saying? It's another song, I think Where I'm From or something like that. It's real hardcore on the album. Uh I ain't gonna recite the lyrics, but it's a hard track, man. I really like that joint up. But yeah, man, it was right before the Rockefeller sign and stuff, man. Right before Dipset got put together. But yeah, man, Cameron is a dope MC. I think that's when he was still really, trying to be dope. And instead of later on, he was trying to be more cool than anything else. I think his rhymes kind of got a little weaker over the years. I mean, I think he's back now doing some good rhyming, but that was during the time when he was really still on his grind.
Yeah, he was still. You could tell he still cared about lyrics and
Yeah,
being lyrical.
he wanted to be a
And
dope MC at that time.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's crazy when you think about it because there's some people who really only know computers Putin Cameron.
Right.
And that's crazy because that's not how he was introduced to most of us. Not as no damn simpleton as far as the raps
No,
go.
not at all, man. So for any younger listeners, man, go back and listen to Cameron's first two albums, Confessions and SDE, and even Come On With Me. Dude can rap. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
he played around late in his career with Dipset and had little whatever. But go back and listen to his early joints. That's how Biggie liked him. You understand something? Biggie was gonna sign Cameron. You know what I'm saying? Just
Hmm.
to give you a glimpse of how dope he was coming out of Harlem. So he's from the lineage of Big L. You know what I'm saying? He said that more now than a long time ago. He talks about L more now. If you check him out on Instagram now, he posts more pictures of L, of Big L, some pictures with him in it with him. He said that was his big homie basically and inspired him and stuff like that. So even and he said that about Mace too. But so he was rhyming. You know what I'm saying? When Biggie got a hold of his music and he rapped for Biggie because Mace brought him to Biggie. So yeah, man, salute to Cameron SDE, man. That's a dope album, man. My pick for this week is a young dude, man, from Hempstead, man. A plus. He had a album, his first album called A Latchkey Kid, and
Mm-hmm.
he had a little single on there called All I Need, and it was a moderate success on the radio. It's a cute little joint, man, nice little hook. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I expected big things from A plus, man. His first album, he was rhyming like someone who had studied AZ. He had a song called A plus Z on there that was very dope. He had a song on there with Q-Tip. He had a song on there with Mobb Deep because obviously Hempstead is close to where Prodigy is from. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure they have some ties with each other and Mob down the track and dope production. You know, I was hoping that A plus would be a larger act because his voice and flow and everything for his age, it was next level. But you know, during that time, real quick, those young kids could really rap. You had A plus, you had Jamal, you had Shaheem the Rugged Child. You know, then you had the Illegal before them. You know, so it wasn't just Chris Cross at one point. Who I like Chris Cross for what they were. Don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing them, but it was these young boys was really rapping. You know what I'm saying? And A plus was good, man. He had the little look and everything. I thought he was gonna really be able to pop off, man. But I don't know what happened. The second album didn't do what the Latchkey did, and he kind of disappeared into the hip hop graveyard, unfortunately, man. But man, it's a really good album, man. You guys go back on YouTube, put in the Latchkey Kid for A plus. Listen to this kid rap. He was really good.
yeah, man. He was like one of them dudes where I'm just surprised, like how quickly he kind of disappeared. You know what I'm saying? For how mature he was in his lyrics. Um, but who knows? Because it's kind of like it has a little bit to do with like groups like Shaheem, somewhat with Illegal, and other groups where the youngsters, um, where they're kind of getting some ghostwriting help to make songs. Like they probably could rap, but they're getting help with songs, and a lot of times it just ends up being a situation where they just don't have the support because people feel like the flame is out. They're not dope anymore, and they're not getting the production they first got when they came out. They're not getting the other production help, as in some ghostwriting, and people kind of give up. Because I don't even remember what A Plus second album was. I
Yeah,
remember the
man.
last two kids.
It was the Hempstead High. I just looked it up, and matter of fact, man, he's 36 years old now, and he actually had a single that came out in 2012 called "I'm Right Here." You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna look that up. You know what I'm saying? He got that, and then he had a song in 2009 called "Who Stole Hip Hop," and in 1999 he had a track too. So he had a couple of singles. I haven't heard these songs before, uh, I'm definitely gonna go back and pull them up tonight and listen to those last two tracks from 2012 and 2009. Man, I love to find out where he is, man. I was a big fan, man. Like you said, sometimes you go in the hip hop the graveyard because contracts and things of that nature, man, and then you just kind of get lost in the matrix of hip hop.
Yeah, I think that's what people really need to understand about a lot of these topics we talk about, a lot of these albums, like especially if we're talking about albums that never came out, like I Am Nostradamus. Um, there's a lot of label politics and a lot of situations that keep careers stifled and or dead in some cases. Keep you from hearing certain projects that you probably wish would have always came out, and you don't even know they sitting on a shelf somewhere. But it's unfortunate because dudes like A Plus and Shaheem and the youngsters, even though the youngsters kind of got into production,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah,
you
man.
know,
I think one of the kids ended up being a very good producer. I can't
yeah,
think of his
yeah,
name right now, but he has some heat.
Yeah, he had some dope beats, man, and they even had the youngsters had um I forget how this might have been late '90s, but they had some dope songs. Also, it's just
No,
that
they had an album, Illy Funksters, and they had that track, I'll Make You Famous. Go back, matter of fact, another record, well, just
yeah,
check it out. Check the youngsters out. I'll Make You Famous. That's the name of the album. But they changed their name from the youngsters to the Illy Funksters.
hmm yeah, man. So I
So that,
mean,
yeah,
it's one of those things, man, where it's kind of like you don't know these cats still exist, but the internet makes it so you can rediscover them. Like, look, Tone just found out, A plus got a couple of records. I remember when I found out, like, dude, like Father MC been putting out albums since like his second album, and I'm like, when, how, who's
right.
buying it, who's listening to it? But some of these cats are still grinding to get, whatever check they can get. Who knows? Maybe, there's we all know there's some appreciation that exists more overseas than it does here. We kind of discard dudes, but that's another topic for another show. But go and check out those albums: A Plus, Latchkey Kid, Cameron's, Sports, Drugs, and Entertainment. Two very dope albums, two very dope times in hip hop for you to go back and give them another listen, man, because this ain't garbage we throwing at you, man. This is dope records. What do you think about this podcast? Well, if you watch the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment in the comment section. If you listen to the audio version, do the same there. But more importantly, in both cases, share it with people you know enjoy this type of content because it's available almost everywhere. Uh, Please know that you can go to intothedome.com to get some more information, not only on some of the artists and times that we mentioned here in this podcast and read some articles, but you can also go there to get the latest episodes and hang around and check out what's there. There's a lot of content there. Enterthedome.com. That's ENTERDADOME.com. Subscribe, absorb it all, support hip hop on behalf of myself, Vegas, and the homie Tone of EnterTheDome.com. Till next time, y'all. Peace, man. Go support hip hop. Why not, man? You got money.
Peace.
Drop it on the random.